I can't remember a more exciting offseason in recent memory. But of course, that being said, were all these trades win-wins?
But that price tag, though. Shannon, are you surprised Matty Ice went for only a third-round pick?
No, I'm not.
With all the major blockbuster deals of 2022 now out of the way, we think it's time to whip out the report cards. So here are our grades for the 12 biggest trades of the 2022 NFL offseason. Seahawks send Russell Wilson to Mile High City. The Seattle Seahawks finally put an end to the never-ending Russell Wilson trade rumors by dealing the future Hall of Famer to the Denver Broncos. The haul was massive, to say the very least. This is one of those rare blockbuster deals that actually feels like a win-win for both sides. Denver finally ends its search for a long-term franchise quarterback. Wilson's arrival puts this deep and talented roster in position to win right now. For Seattle, well, they've had way too many roster flaws and had failed to build a legitimate contender around Wilson these past few seasons. It's always tough moving on from the face of the franchise, but it was absolutely necessary. If John Schneider hits on these picks he got from Denver, it'll be a short, very successful rebuild. Now, as for the grades, A+ for the Broncos because top 10 quarterbacks in the midst of their primes rarely ever become available. With their defense and a deep set of skill position guys, Wilson puts Denver in Super Bowl contention right away. As for the Seahawks, well, they get a B+. Charles Cross was a great pick with the number 9 selection they obtained from Denver. I mean, he has future franchise cornerstone written all over him. And Seattle's also in a great position to draft one of the top QBs in next year's deep class. Sin City Stunner. Raiders go all in for Devante Adams. Devante Adams made it pretty clear to the Green Bay Packers that he wanted to leave for Las Vegas. So, left with no choice, the Packers dealt the All-Pro wideout to the Raiders in exchange for 2022 first and second round picks. Vegas then handed Adams a massive 5-year contract extension worth $141.25 million, reuniting him with Fresno State QB Derek Carr for the long haul. Now, this contract may not age well in the long run, but hey, so what? The Raiders got the NFL's best wide receiver to join an already potent offensive group. And did you see all the moves the other AFC playoff hopefuls made? Giving up 2 early round picks is risky, but this is Vegas. You gotta roll the dice when the opportunity comes up. So, we're gonna give Las Vegas a B here. As for the Packers, well, we would have liked the trade more if they used one of their 2022 first rounders, maybe on a receiver. Instead, they used those selections on Quay Walker and Devonte Wyatt. They finally took Christian Watson 34th overall, but he's not as polished as some of the other receivers Green Bay could have taken. This wasn't exactly a great use of resources for a Packers team that is in win-now mode. So, it's a disappointing C- grade here. Passing, but not great. Dolphins make a splash for Tyreek Hill. This was another stunner. The Kansas City Chiefs traded Patrick Mahomes' favorite receiver to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for 2022 first, second, and fourth rounders and 2023 fourth and sixth round picks. Miami then gave Hill a mammoth 4-year contract extension worth $120 million. The Dolphins are leaving Tua Tagovailoa with no more excuses. Hill and Jalen Waddle will make up the league's fastest receiving duo. The offensive line and backfield were both upgraded through free agency as well. So it's now or never for Tua. While Hill is arguably a top 5 receiver at the moment, giving up 5 draft picks for a receiver nearing his 30s is a pretty steep price to pay. So we're gonna give Miami a C+. On the other hand, it's hard not to like the work of Brett Veach here. The Chiefs are experts at working the draft and finding hidden gems out of nowhere. Newcomers Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, and rookie Sky Moore give Mahomes 3 speedy game-changing wideouts. Wouldn't you rather have 3 of those instead of 1? Tremendous use of resources by the Chiefs, who we are giving a B for this deal. Eagles land A.J. Brown on draft day. Hey look, another jaw-dropping trade involving a wide receiver. On draft day, the Philadelphia Eagles acquired Tennessee Titans star receiver A.J. Brown in exchange for the 18th and 101st picks. Eagles GM Howie Roseman deserves to have a statue of himself built following this trade. He just landed one of the game's elite young wideouts by giving up only 2 selections. And again, what are the odds he would have landed a better impact player than Brown with those 2 picks? Brown and rising star Devante Smith give Jalen Hurts 2 all-pro caliber receivers. And we haven't even mentioned tight end Dallas Goedert yet. The NFC is looking pretty wide open right now, and we legitimately can see the Eagles re-emerging as a Super Bowl contender. They get an A+ from us. Now, Sorry, Titans fans, but we really can't comprehend this. A team in win-now mode refusing to pay its best receiver? Now you're asking rookie Treylon Burks, the number 18 selection, to step in and produce like a number 1 wideout right out of the gate. The AFC's top seed in 2021 took a significant step back here. Why wouldn't you just pay Brown what he's worth? So that's why you get a C-. Colts swap out Rock Ya-Sin for Yannick Ngakoue. The Indianapolis Colts needed another edge rusher to complement the superstar duo of DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard. Fortunately, the Raiders were happy to help. The Colts sent young cornerback Rock Ya-Sin to the Raiders in exchange for pass-rushing stalwart Yannick Ngakoue. The move cleared up room for Vegas to sign Chandler Jones in free agency, ensuring that Max Crosby has a stud sidekick in the trenches. Ngakoue put up 10 sacks with the Raiders last season. He posted at least 8 in each of his 6 NFL seasons. He most certainly addresses a need for the Colts, and the price was very reasonable. So, Indy gets an A here. Rock Ya-Sin is coming off the best season of his career, having racked up 8 pass defenses while allowing a completion percentage of only 53.3 when targeted. He adds more depth to a Raiders secondary that already had 2 young impact players in Trayvon Merrick and Nate Hobbs. The purpose of the trade was making room for Jones. The Colts undoubtedly got the better player, but we understand why the Raiders made this deal. So we're gonna give the silver and black a B-. Rams deal Robert Woods to Titans. The Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams had to clear cap room, while the Titans needed another wideout after the failed Julio Jones experiment. Call this a win-win. The Rams traded standout receiver Robert Woods to Tennessee for the low price of a 2023 6th-round pick. Woods unfortunately missed the second half of 2021 and the entire postseason after suffering an ACL tear. But the Rams went on to win the Super Bowl without him anyway. This was a cap-dumping move for the Rams, who went on to sign veteran stars Allen Robinson and Bobby Wagner in free agency. Excellent use of resources by GM Les Snead, who gets a B from us. For the Titans, well, a 6th-round pick for a consistent 1,000-yard threat is tremendous value. A healthy Woods can easily slot in as the new number 1 wideout for Tennessee. He will at least help offset some of the production they're losing from A.J. Brown. The low price for Woods leads to the perfect A+ grade for John Robinson and company. Cap-strapped Cowboys send Amari Cooper to the land. With very little salary cap room to work with, Jerry Jones basically had to either trade or cut Amari Cooper. Ultimately, the Pro Bowl wideout was dealt to the Cleveland Browns along with a 6th-rounder in exchange for 2022 5th and 6th-round selections. Now, regardless of how you felt about Cooper's lucrative contract, the Cowboys are a worse team without him. Choosing Gallup, who's coming off an ACL tear, over the most proven ineffective Cooper is a risky move. Compare this to the hauls that other teams got in exchange for their star receivers, and this is easily a D- move for the Cowboys. Cleveland, on the other hand, gets an A+ from us. Cooper is an upgrade over Jarvis Landry, who was released in a cost-cutting move. He should be able to take over as the new number 1 wide receiver right away, and he and Deshaun Watson could emerge as one of the league's top connections in 2022. Hollywood Brown heads to the desert. Hey look, another draft day blockbuster. The Arizona Cardinals acquired Marquise Hollywood Brown and the number 100 selection from the Baltimore Ravens for the number 23 pick. This trade gives Kyler Murray a much-needed number 2 wideout to help DeAndre Hopkins, who will miss the first 6 games of the season while serving a suspension. This was a steep price to pay, but we have very little doubt that Brown will take his game to another level with Murray. So we're giving the Cardinals a B. As for the Ravens, well, they get an A from us. Eric DeCosta moved down 2 spots from number 23 and selected Iowa center Tyler Linderbaum, who most certainly has future Pro Bowler written all over him. He's going to solidify Baltimore's offensive line and will be a key piece on their run-heavy offense. Browns mortgage everything for Deshaun Watson. Trading for Deshaun Watson was always going to be a PR nightmare, but that was a risk the Browns were apparently willing to take. In March, the Browns acquired Watson and a 2024 6th-rounder from the Houston Texans in exchange for 2022, 2023, and 2024 1st-rounders, plus a 2023 3rd and 2024 4th. The Browns proceeded to hand Watson a 5-year, fully guaranteed $230 million contract. This is a lot to give up, regardless of Watson's talents. 3 firsts and $230 million in fully guaranteed money? Not to mention that the Browns lost a lot of supporters by making this trade. The Browns are going to get a C here because Watson is going to have to deliver a Super Bowl to make this trade worthwhile. Of course, this is an easy A for the Texans. They waited patiently for someone to overpay for Watson, and boy did it pay off. GM Nick Caserio is absolutely loaded with draft capital to accelerate what once looked to be a painful long-term rebuild. Chargers unite Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. When you have to deal with Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Derek Carr within the division, well, it's probably a good idea to have a couple of pass rushers like Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. Chargers GM Tom Telesco acquired the latter from Chicago for a very reasonable price of a 2022 second and 2023 sixth-rounder. That's quite a fair deal for a former NFL Defensive Player of the Year, even if he is on the wrong side of 30 and carrying around an expensive contract. It's a savvy win-now move for a Chargers team that has all the pieces in place to compete. So hey, congrats on your A-, Mr. Telesco. It's decent value for the Bears as well, who used the number 48 pick from the Chargers on Penn State safety Jaquan Brisker. New GM Ryan Poles wisely commenced a rebuild by dealing away a player whose contract would become a burden in short time. So Chicago gets a respectable B grade from us. Carson Wentz becomes Washington's new commander. Instead of waiting for the draft, the Washington Commanders decided to take a chance on the maddeningly inconsistent Carson Wentz. The Colts gave up on Wentz following his Week 18 debacle against Jacksonville, sending him and a 2022 7th-rounder to DC in exchange for 2022 and 2023 3rd-rounders, plus a swap of second-round picks. The trade just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Washington. They could have drafted Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder, or Matt Corral instead of mortgaging so much for a mediocre veteran quarterback. Wentz couldn't get it done on a very good Colts and Eagles team. So what makes you think he'll suddenly shine in Washington? It's going to be a C- for the Commanders. As for the Colts, well, it's an A+. They recouped some of the valuable draft capital that they sacrificed to land Wentz last year. And more importantly, Chris Ballard managed to find an upgrade at quarterback. Speaking of which, Matt Ryan starts new chapter with the Colts. After failing to make the trade for Deshaun Watson, the Falcons understood it was best to move on from franchise icon Matt Ryan. The 2016 league MVP was dealt to the QB-needy Colts for the low price of a 2022 third-round pick. How can you not like this if you're a Colts fan? Ryan consistently put up good numbers on very mediocre Atlanta teams. Now he'll get to play with rushing champion Jonathan Taylor behind a top 5 O-line under the guidance of renowned offensive guru Frank Reich. Ryan is most certainly a nice upgrade over Wentz. A+ for the Colts here. And for the Falcons, well, they had to rebuild. But if they had shopped Ryan much earlier, they could have gotten a much better return. So we're gonna give them a C+. Good move, just should have happened earlier. But how would you grade these blockbuster trades from the 2022 offseason? Do any of these moves deserve an F maybe? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.